Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today I'm going to do something that I don't often do. I am going to reread a book. So technically I'm actually rereading a book and a half. It's not going to be a surprise because it is in the title of this video, but whatever. I read in 2017 a sort of book and a half of a trilogy, and I did not enjoy said trilogy and I was very disappointed. However, I'm going to give it another shot. This is a very rare thing for me. I am going to try the Grisha Trilogy one more time. So if you don't know what the Grisha Trilogy is, and maybe you don't know why I'm going ahead and choosing to do this at this time, Leigh Bardugo is like a huge deal in YA books and YA fantasy, and the Grisha Trilogy was, I believe, her very first sort of series of books ever. So it starts with Shadow and Bone, and then we have Siege and Storm, and we have Ruin and Rising. So, yeah, I read the first book, Shadow and Bone, in 2017, right around the summer, and I did not enjoy it. However, I had already bought the first two books in anticipation of enjoying it because I love Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which is by the same author and they're set in the same universe. So because I loved Six of Crows so much, I was like, great, of course I'm gonna love the Grisha Trilogy. And that was unfortunately not necessarily the case. And there's a few reasons for that that I'll go into later. So I normally don't reread books in general. I just don't have the time to do so. And if I am gonna be rereading something, I'm not gonna reread a book that I didn't like or a series that I didn't like. So why am I doing this now? Y'all probably know that King of Scars by the same author came out fairly recently in January 2019, and this book again takes place in the same universe as the Grisha Trilogy and as Six of Crows. So I figured that I would be totally fine, like, reading the spoilery synopsis of the Grisha Trilogy to refresh my memory of the first book and a half and then find out what happens at the end and all of that before I read this. I don't think that is going to be the best way to go about it. And I really do want to read this book because it features a character who I really liked from what little I saw of him in the Grisha Trilogy, and that I really liked from his kind of cameos in the Six of Crows duology. I really want to read this. I really love her writing style. I bought like a hardcover copy of it. I had pre-ordered it, and I just don't think I'm gonna get the same level of enjoyment out of King of Scars if I don't try the Grisha Trilogy one more time. So I have Shadow and Bone here. I'm gonna be bringing this with me. I'm going away, as you guys probably know, to Edinburgh to get married. So this is one of the books that I am going to bring with me. And suitcase space is at a serious premium right now, so I am really kind of investing in rereading this. I did not enjoy it the first time around for a few reasons. I think that the Six of Crows books are particularly great because they defy a lot of the kind of stereotypes that are around YA and YA heroines. The book is filled with these amazing women who have so much agency. I mean, Inej and Nina are fantastic characters. They're some of my favorite characters in fantasy, not just in YA, and I did not get the same sense from Alina, who's the main character in this series. I feel like in a lot of ways Shadow and Bone is possibly just kind of a product of its time. YA has come such a great distance over the years, and I only started reading it in 2017, so I don't kind of have the same mindset around some of the older books like Throne of Glass or like Shadow and Bone. I feel are really a point in time. You can really identify with young adult books, and I don't have that kind of reference because I wasn't reading them at that time. Oh, the things that I didn't enjoy about this book, particularly about Alina, is the fact that she just doesn't really seem to have agency. She doesn't really seem to do much except mope about men, which isn't great, and she's very sort of concerned about her looks and everything, which I totally get because she's a teenager, but also you have, again, these other women in her books that are so much sort of more interesting and more complex and have kind of better backstories and all of this. I don't really know what I can say about the sort of love triangle that's in this book because I am not a huge fan of love triangles in general, but I know that characters will sort of progress and change, but I wasn't a huge fan of either of the men. We have Mal, who's kind of the childhood friend, who's super mega hot and doesn't notice her until another man takes notice of her, which is one of my least favorite things ever. And then we of course have the Darkling, who is our super hot bad guy, which I am more inclined to like because I prefer villainous characters. I find them more interesting, and a blank sheet of paper is more interesting than Mal, quite frankly. At least at the point that I got to. So I'm not really sold on the romance, I'm not really sold on our heroine. I do, however, love the world. I love the world building, I love the magic and the different kinds of Grisha, and so yeah, we'll see how this goes, but I don't know. I have read, Tor did a sort of read-along for all 3 books and kind of an in-depth, really spoilery synopsis of them all, so I know exactly what happens throughout the entire trilogy, and that was one of the reasons that I decided to go ahead and give this another shot, because it does sound like the things that I have a problem with do improve. However, I think that a lot of the things that I have a problem with do not improve at the same time, so I don't know, we'll see. I feel like this has just been kind of a chatty video about why I don't like a series, which is kind of a silly thing, but I am going to try to keep progress of my thoughts on these books as I read them. I'm hoping that I can have all 3 finished before February is over. Maybe sometime in March I'll have them all done. I would be very curious to see what I think of these 3 books, especially having a wider scope for what fantasy and YA is like now, because again, 2017 I hadn't read very much, and I feel like I have a better idea of what to expect. And also I feel like knowing that certain things happen, especially by the end, will help me maybe push through. So we'll see how this goes. I would really love to know what you think. I know that the Grisha Trilogy has some very, very opposing viewpoints within kind of the fandom. Everyone has a differing opinion. Some people love it, some people hate it, some people love Mal, some people hate Mal, some people love the Darkling, some say he's abusive, which he probably is, but I would be very curious to know what you guys think of this, because I'm in kind of a funny position. I never reread books, and I worry that if I go ahead and give Shadow and Bone a start and I just don't enjoy it, then this whole project is gonna fall through, and then I'll never get to read King of Scars, which would really suck. So, because I feel like I am the only person who has not read these books, I would love to know what you guys think. I would love to know what your thoughts were when you read it, when you reread it, or if you reread it because of King of Scars. I don't want to hear anything about King of Scars. I'm gonna read it at some point, but please, like, don't spoil anything for me. I already had something spoiled, it was totally my fault, but like, I'm really excited to read it, so please don't say anything. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time, hopefully with a wrap-up of what I think of the Grisha Trilogy.